zombies are running and chasing me, and I am running and running and running and running and running. They should have titled it something like "See Paul Run Away from Zombies." But yeah, it's a fun little piece. Zombies are interesting to me. I actually really like the whole concept of, from a movie perspective, I like the old zombies. I like the zombies that don't move very fast.
Yeah, fresh brains,
There's something... yeah. There's something about it that Night of the Living Dead type zombie. There's something about it that's more real to me.
I think, too, the movie, the original one, if being filmed in, black and white, I mean, it was so ahead of its time. And, some of the zombie movies that came out after that just, I don't think, right up to it. Because when you watch the Night of the Living Dead, the original, one, you watch it, right? And you're sitting there, right, in your bed, or you're sitting on your couch. You actually, at least me, I got kind of scared at times, especially the first couple times I saw it,
Oh, yeah.
And the zombies, move slow, but they were more vicious when they bit. The zombies, like in The Walking Dead and stuff like that, I mean, I think they've taken it to a new level. But I don't know. Then what's that movie? 28 Days, a zombie movie.
Yeah, 28 Days, where the zombies really get crazy fast
But they die off in 28 days because they starve to death. They've already ate everybody in the neighborhood, and the county and then the state. They're all gone. So, they start dying off. I hate to say it, I'm not going to slam The Walking Dead, but it seems like these zombies don't die, It's just like, like one of the original zombie movies where they go from that shopping center, and then they, finally get away from it, with the zombies, and they get on a boat. I think one or two of them survive.
Yeah.
Okay, because they realized zombies couldn't live in the water, right? But then you watch, like I was watching some of the scenes or shows of The Walking Dead, the zombies are walking out of, coming out of the lake, they're coming out of the ocean, they're coming out of, where the quicksand and, all that stuff out, in the swamps. They've been underwater for 3 years and they stand up and start trying to eat you. I mean, I don't know. It just, I think it's lost a little bit. But I mean, I like the horror movies. I like them scary,
I like them scary too. And I know that, different things scare different people and stuff. But just something with the zombies. And it's probably, it might have something to do with some of the reading I've done up on zombies, and kind of their basis a little bit on, and I'm not a zombie expert. I hope people listening don't think that I'm trying to make myself sound like the zombie expert. But there's something about the old voodoo sort of roots, where that's kind of where that idea came from.
Oh, yeah.
Reanimating somebody that's dead and what that looks like. And there's just something to the Night of the Living Dead where they're moving slow and they're the graveyard. I don't know. There's something about it that rings.
It's eerie. It's eerie.
There's something eerie, yeah.
And again,
eerie, and there's something that rings, that seems underneath it. There's something.
Like it could happen.
Someone else use it.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Yeah, there's something about it where I'm like, okay, there's something in the roots of this whole thing that seems more plausible than what you're saying, where it's like zombies are coming out of the water, and I don't know. There's something really, really, of course, way more eerie about the whole thing.
Yeah, and I like the sequel to that one was where, the one zombie actually was starting to be able. Some of the zombies be able to talk, kind of. And they get on the microphone of a police car and they say, "Send more cops." I don't know if you remember that one, but they just got done eating all the cops that were sitting there trying to kill them, and the one gets on the microphone and goes, "Send more cops. We need more cops." Yeah.
That makes me laugh. Did you ever see that comedy version of what was it, Shaun of the Dead? That came out a while back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That made me. I don't know. I appreciated it. That makes me think of that. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh, the Night of the Living Dead is that. It's a classic for a reason. It's a classic for a reason.
oh yeah, and isn't that
I
where
kind of cut you off. What were you gonna say?
no, isn't that too where they're in this house, and then at one point it was an old farmhouse. There was a gas pump, and the one guy gets into the truck, and ends up, I think, getting himself blown up. It was a low budget movie, but I mean, right from almost from when she gets out of the vehicle right there at the cemetery with her brother. It just that guy is just kind of walking funny towards him. It just never stopped all through the whole movie, and very
right. Where it's just like, whoa, yeah. But it's also it just is eerie through the. Yeah, there's. I can go on and on. There's just something really beautifully eerie about it through the whole thing.
Well, I don't know. See, I like shows like that over like Alien or all these other type of shows that, they're suspenseful, but they just don't. I don't know. Just like Friday the 13th, all those. Yeah, it's more like taking a knife, right, and sticking it into somebody. I mean, it just doesn't really leave a lasting impression. I mean, it scares you when you watch it. That's what they want to do. But, right. I mean,
right.
If you watch like the
Friday the 13th never worked for me. I don't know. Something about it, I think there was something in Friday the 13th. Or wait, Friday the 13th. No. I'm thinking of the other one. I'm thinking of, what's that one? What's the one with Freddy?
Freddy Cougar?
Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
That one, that as a movie, it never worked for me. Like, I was like, I don't believe this world that they are in. Something about it just left me thinking that I never was able to, like Night of the Living Dead, that movie, I was very much able to see. I was like, oh, this just, like, I'm scared now walking by a graveyard at night. Like, okay.
Well, I would be even in the daytime, actually. Hey, I've heard some of these recordings that some of these ghost hunters, have sent me MP3 files, where they've been in the cemetery, and, you hear some little kid like saying, "Is that you, Mommy?" or real weird things, and that's kind of,
oh my gosh,
but they don't hear it, but the recorder picks it up, and it makes you wonder, like, do these things really exist? But it's a lot of strange things out there, it's just,
wow.
But
yeah, no, there are, and I feel like it's silly for people to not. I don't know. I guess I'm saying that. I think it's silly in some ways for people to say everything can be explained away, because I don't find that to be true.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I had Canada's number one folk singer on my show back here about a month and a half ago. And he was talking about how he ran into a Bigfoot. And, here's, Canada's number one folk singer, telling people that he ran into a Bigfoot, described the whole situation. I knew it was true because, like, again, this is another story I've told people. Back in the early 2000s, I was in the Canadian Rockies taking pictures of an old internment camp that held Japanese prisoners during World War II. Out in the middle of nowhere, okay? 2 miles away up from the road, which the road that time of year was hardly any traffic. And we were out there taking pictures, and my friend, who happens to be a medical doctor who just finished his internship and opened up a new practice up here, said, "Hey, Gary, look at that bear." And I had a big telephoto zoom on my camera, and I turned around, and I go to my friend, I go, "Hey, that isn't a bear." So he quickly put a telephoto on, and he looked at it, and he goes, "Oh my God, the thing made the biggest scream, okay, that I ever heard
really?
In my life." Okay, we took off. We didn't even think. People have come back, since I told what happened on the air. People said, well, why didn't you get pictures? Well, I'll tell you, number one, when you see something like that and it screams at you when it sees you, okay, you get so scared. You take off running as fast as you can. In fact, I will even say this. I urinated in my pants running to the car. That's how scared I was. Me and my friend were that scared. Now, I'm leaving a lot of it out because I don't want to repeat everything like I have, on the show. But we had to run almost 2 miles through a forest to get back to the car. Now, when we got back to the car, guess what was there? I don't know if it was him or its mate, but it was off about 25 feet away from the car. We were off the side of the road. This thing was like in the woods yet, but like 25 feet away from us. There was a tree, maybe 20-some feet tall, a pine or fir tree. I don't know the difference. It bended over like a bull, and then it snapped.
Oh.
Then the thing screamed. Now, I already was in the car. I had it started. My friend was just barely getting his leg in the car when I gave it the gas. That sucker threw a rock, hit the front fender, and put a dent in it. So, people can say there's no such thing as Bigfoot, but if you run into one, okay, unless there's some guy, it weighs about like 600 pounds, in a monkey suit, I believe in Bigfoot. And when I was talking to Ed Romans,
right.
That was his encounter. He saw a big creature, and then it took after him for a certain distance, and it actually went from a standing position down to 4 legs back into a standing position. And he said that scared him. Scared him bad.
Yikes! No, I would probably poop my pants. I would be so scared. I would be. Ay.
Well, no. What I'm saying is there are things out there in the paranormal that are real, and just because you or me or the guy down the street don't experience doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So, I mean, that's like I was saying to you, like some of the scenes you've done in these different movies, like in the cave or underneath, the trailer or, in the mental institution or in the prison. I mean, I've read on some movie sets, they had strange, things happen that were totally unaccountable, like the last actor I had on my show. He told me on a couple of different sets that he was on, or actually on location, some strange paranormal things actually happened. So, I mean, you've been lucky, actually.
Yeah, I have been, and I've heard that as well. I've heard stories from different movie sets and stuff like that. Kind of even going back to what we were talking about with the whole, the Crow and some of those where it's just like, oh, I would be apprehensive to work on that.
Well, see, in this case with this one actor, he starred in actually quite a few movies. And when he didn't star, he was like the second one or whatever that is. But he's only done basically horror movies. That's it. And you think about if you do nothing but horror movies and done them for over a 20-year span, maybe, you're pressing your luck. I mean, you're playing the parts of being a savage killer, or you're playing a part of being a vampire, or you're playing a part of being a demon. Maybe, you're asking for, something strange to happen.
Right. Well, there's an interesting question there about the residue of stuff and how does that affect things. And yeah, I get what you're pushing for, and I don't disagree. I think that that's fascinating too. Huh. All of us actors are going to be scared.
Well, I'm not trying to scare you. I mean, you're brave. I mean, you put your foot in places I wouldn't put my foot. I mean, or I certainly wouldn't have gone into a cave. I mean, unless they, I guess that makes a difference between a big budget film and maybe a smaller budget film. They figure they can maybe lose an actor going into a cave. I don't know. I'm sorry. I was joking. Kind of. I hear you, and I shake. Like I said, I shake my head a little bit with some of the. Oh, Actually, I'll tell you this. I haven't worked on any sets where
something strange has happened in a paranormal sense. But